TG here. Let's see, we got it up and running over on the social medias. We got YouTube, X, Meta, Facebook, that kind of stuff. And yeah, we're up in the Moxie room too. So yeah, good to see you guys. So quite the turnaround, which is great. We have been looking for something like this, and CPI came out, just small increase, basically nothing out of line. The market seems to be okay with that, and also thinking that this is going to help. Um, well, what am I thinking? They're going to keep cutting rates next FOMC meeting. So that's kind of the story here and the narrative here. So the market's back up. Um, as far as today's action, what I'm looking for is a little bit more consolidation. I don't think we're just going to keep running away with this today. I think this is a little bit of a short squeeze for now, and I want to see it come back down in order to test some support, because typically even you get a day like today, it's usually not just going to keep moving all day. I want to see this thing. It would be great if we get it to pull back to the 15-minute 50. I don't know if that's going to happen today or tomorrow or the next day, something like that. But that's what I'm looking for, is a re-engagement of support on the 15-minute 50. And at the very least, I mean, even the 15-minute 21, because otherwise this thing just kind of keeps running. We're already outside of the 15-minute third ATR, which is pretty high up there. So I'd like to see it pull back a little bit, and how that looks. So that's kind of the thing I'm looking for. Also, if we look at the 15-minute Moxie indicator, it's still just not really ready. It's not set up. So right now, this is a bounce. I want to see it either come down or flag, determine what support it has, and then we can actually confirm that the market wants to keep going higher from here. I was telling the Moxie crew earlier today when I was on the mic with them that I think if the market's going to keep moving down, because I was kind of looking for the daily 21, but maybe this market's stronger than that and it's not going to test the daily 21. And so if it was, what we could if this was a bounce at a downtrend, or a bounce and a bigger pullback, then this is a bounce and this is a bounce, and then we roll over, we come back down, we come to the daily 21. If that does not happen, then what we could be seeing is basically just some sideways chop until it's a little bit more, until it finds its support. Because I don't know if the market's really just ready to keep running from here, just because today is pretty big day and big reversal, but we're just not confirmed yet. I'm gonna have to see price engage with some sort of support on the 15-minute time frame, and so I'm just kind of waiting to see what that looks like. All right, so maybe a little bit of a consolidation or pullback today, later today, something like that. But yeah, the market's up pretty good. The small caps are lagging. I guess that's the best way to say it. They seem to have stopped going down. And in fact, those of you on the social media and people who watch me out there, if you guys go over to my X page, and if you look at profit_pilot on X, I actually copied a post from the Moxie group 2 days ago, and I think it was referencing mostly the RSP, which is the equal weight of the S&P. And I was saying, this thing is pretty impressive. It's been coming down like this, pulling back for a week or 2 weeks, and the market was still kind of hanging out. The S&P still wasn't quite showing it. And then we finally started to get a pullback, and I said, maybe the bottom of this market's going to be when we see a flush out or a capitulation or something like that. And sure enough, that's what we got yesterday. The market just dropped as far as the RSP. And so I was like, that might be it. Now, we're still not quite seeing a turnaround. You can definitely see it's still down, so it's still very heavy, and we're going to have to kind of see where we go from here. I'd like to think that this is the low, but we need to see the RSP, we need to see the IWM. We're going to have to see these names kind of get into gear and catch up on this. So we're just kind of waiting for that. That's kind of my idea from there. Let's see, other than that, we have Bitcoin. Let's see, BTC, which has turned around pretty nice. So I think, I'm not short Bitcoin. I'm everything bullish Bitcoin. Okay. I think that's a fairly easy something. It did pull back over the last couple of days, but it seems to me it's just kind of flagging into the daily 21, something to that extent. And then the other thing, we have 2 positions that are almost at 200%. So yeah, this is pretty exciting. I'll show you guys. We have TSLL, which is the leveraged ETF of Tesla. And we got in all the way back down here around $10 and change. And we are up at 190%. We're almost to 200. And we have a full position on this. I haven't sold any of this since we originally got in all the way back here, which was something around September. Yeah, early September. Yeah, almost 200% on that one. So very, very exciting. I have a feeling it's going to get there because I think Tesla's going to keep going up. Like Tesla is coming up on 420. So yeah, that's kind of a fun thing. We'll see if Elon will be thrilled or say something about Tesla at 420. You guys know he always has jokes like that. Otherwise, I hear that there's some gamma strikes up at 440, so that might be the next area as far as technicals. We'll see if the market goes past yeah, Elon's 420. Yeah, it'll be great if he says something. It'll be funny. So there we go. That's why I think TSLL will most likely hit 200%. We'll definitely have to make note of that. The other one, Reddit. This thing just keeps going. And we got this thing back down here somewhere in the $58 range. And it's up 180. It maxed out. I guess it actually did hit 200 at one point. I guess I wasn't watching that one. But we'll have to see. I don't know. This is pretty high. We've taken some profits along the way on this one. So I don't know if that's going to actually hold 200. I mean, it's so close. We're right there at about 180, and we'll just have to see. But this thing's been an absolute beast, and we've been very, very happy with it. And as I said, we just started cashing in and taking some profits along the way on this thing just because, I mean, it's up there. So yeah, it's kind of in no man's land. So we've been having some good trades out there on that. And then, yeah, Bitcoin's doing well. Now, the Bitcoin miners, remember, those things are kind of crazy. They're a little bit of the Wild West. And I've got a lot of questions, people asking about these things. I just think that they're pulling back. I think this is totally normal. Something like Irene was up here at a double top and seemed perfectly fine. So I don't have any problems with that and what it's doing. And same thing with Wolf. It pulled back more, a little bit harder, right in through there. But I think that it's kind of found an area where we could be seeing a bounce. So it came down here, previous level, got closer to the daily 50, and I think this is going to be okay in through here. We're still waiting for these things to turn around, but now that Bitcoin looks like it's kind of found its spot and started to move up, then yeah, I think it's going to be. I think these will be okay. Yeah, Enrico, I was kind of watching that as far as the SPX. Kind of watching it off the corner of my eye for the other one. The market did not go down right here. I was expecting S&P to break below the 2-minute 50, and it's not quite doing it. But I'm still not sure if I really think that the market is going to stay up like this today. So that's kind of, yeah, I'm trying to have to make that decision in theory here. You could see that this morning we kind of had things either, I don't know, people selling stuff or taking profits or something like that. But now we do have the ticks kind of turning back up, and you can see that yes, the S&P did bounce off the 2-minute 50, but this is a pretty big move to where if I were long like a day trade, I'd be cashing out because this is getting kind of up there. So that's why I'm on the other side of the trade, is just because it's pretty high up there. And like I said at the beginning of this session, I really want to see price and the S&P pull back or flag into some sort of strength, some sort of moving average, something that we can say, ah, yes, now it's tested support, because right now this is just a bounce. I have no way of confirming that the market's going to keep going from here. I like it. I would like it to. I think it is going to, generally speaking, like over the next few days. But as far as this particular move, we need to see a test. And so that's why I'm like, I don't think it's really going to be staying up here. So yes, it's kind of moved a little bit more. It did bounce off that 2-minute 50. I'm going to keep giving this a little bit of leeway. I know we're taking some heat on it, but I just think that I don't think it's going to be up here. I don't think it should be up here. So we'll see how wrong I am if that is the case. But I want to give it a little bit of time because it's just pretty far up there. We can even look at the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ is very strong too. We're looking at the MAGs, the MAG 7, they're up. Yeah, a lot of these things are up. But this is kind of looking like this might have been the last little pop up. At least that's how I'm viewing it, reading it. So yes, it did flag into the 2-minute 50, popped up. Now, again, this is going to take some time to unfold because the market keeps wanting to move up, but we do have the 2-minute Moxie indicator below zero. And so if this is the last move to the upside and you can't find any more buyers, then I think what we should be watching for is the next opportunity for this to come down. Again, I could be totally wrong about this, but that's what I'm willing to play and trade in through here. And you guys remember I was talking about the duckbill pattern on the 2-minute SPX. It worked out for a few minutes and then it found the 2-minute. I'm seeing another duckbill pattern here on the 5-minute, and so I think that this is getting a little bit top heavy up and through here. It's kind of outrunning all of its support. Is how I'm viewing things. So yeah, I'm going to keep giving this just a little bit more time, because if you look on the 15, even with the Nasdaq, like I can't buy that. Yes, there was this move, but you got to be Johnny on the spot if you're going to be doing trading something like that, and that's not quite my thing. So I'm looking at this saying like, wow, that is really high up there. And before I go swing long on something like this, I'm going to have to wait until it comes down. I mean, I'm going to have to see price come down to the 15-minute 21. I'd really prefer the 15-minute 50, but that might take more than a day to do. So I just need this thing to come down a little bit. I'm just not really comfortable buying long up here. So I'd like to see it come down a little bit, and then we can look at a long position. That's why I'm still kind of hanging on a little bit to this. The other thing that, as I mentioned before in the Moxie room, IWM and the RSP are bottoming, but they're not totally getting into gear yet. So yes, we can kind of see we pulled back this morning, coming up a little bit. So that's going to be good. I want to see these things starting to turn around, but they're not like popping off the charts or anything. So that's kind of where I'm at on that one. And then the Dow was, yeah, still down. It is turning around, so it's good. We're starting to see these laggards start to kick in. But yeah, I would really like to see the S&P actually pull back and consolidate, because I just don't think it can kind of keep going up here. It's not sustainable, I guess would be the word that I would look at. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Let's see how that goes. All right, guys. Okay. So yeah, we know Bitcoin, Dow, we kind of went through all the indices. And yeah, we've still had some pretty good, crazy names out there. SoundHound, for those of you out in social media land, yeah, SoundHound has been a really, really great mover for us. I mean, I think we're up, we were up over 100%, like 123%. I think we're still about 93%. So yeah, we've given some back, but I'm looking at this and it just outran all of its support. I mean, again, look how big this thing is. So now we're going to let this thing come in a little bit, and the next area I'm going to be looking at is the hourly 50. We'll see if that ends up being some support. But yeah, I think this thing is clearly in an uptrend, and from a swing perspective, not like short-term day trading or something, from a swing perspective, I just don't think this thing's done yet. And so if you're willing to let it move around a little bit and kind of breathe and stuff, then I think this is still going to be a good position. Now, brighter side, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Brighter side, you keep trying to short this market, man. I feel like we've had the conversation before where when the market's strong, you're not believing the strength of the market. Now, I get it. I'm trying to basically short the market today, and it's against me. But I remember from our conversations, generally speaking, that you just kind of wanted, you're like, oh, the market's too crazy. This isn't going to happen. It shouldn't be up there. I'm going to short it, and that wasn't working for you. So, when you see what I've been trying to tell people and all the traders and any of the interviews that I'm doing and any of the social media and any of the videos, I'm trying to show people that on a monthly and weekly basis, we are seeing a bunch of names coming out of the woodworks. Okay. This market is strong. Okay. This market has a lot of other names. The IWM, even though it's pulling back, is strong. Okay. It's making new all-time highs. So try not to be swing short with this market. You really need to go with the flow. Like the pullback that we had was a 2-day pullback, and now we're bouncing like this. Okay. I thought maybe we get a little bit more downside. I was kind of looking at that daily 21, but that's fine. We are, all of our positions are long, and now you just have to kind of handle this stuff. When you start seeing things like toast break out, I mean, really, brighter side, you got to look at this. You got to look at the monthly and weekly timeframes and get an idea of what's happening out there. You see these big consolidation areas where they're flagging into monthly timeframes, and then they're breaking out in a big way after being demolished. I mean, this has been a very long process. We've been watching this stuff for a few years. I mean, ever since we had the crazy 2020 bubble and then the small caps got popped, they went into hibernation mode. And, we've all kind of been waiting like, oh my gosh, when is this thing going to finally happen? Well, it's here. Okay. It's here. The 2020 vibes are back. But I think they're more legitimate this time because they think there's a little bit less craziness. Even though we're getting these really big moves, I just think overall we're not quite seeing the explosion and the zero interest rate environment and the money printer that we saw back then. It's not quite that, but what it is the small caps are starting to come out of hibernation. So that's the good side of stuff. Yeah, Nick, come on over, man. Come on over. We are having a great time because look at Toast. We got into this thing and we made 42 and 52%, or 40% and 52%, something like that. So, Toast, we did great. HNST, we also did great. I mean, just look at these things. Look at this. You got to see that these small caps and these names, like, just look at the life cycle of these names and what they're starting to do. Okay. This is the time to come back over to Simpler and join me because this is my kind of market, man. Like this is it. We got HNST at 350 and we got out at 100% and then we exited more at 142. And these things are fantastic. I mean, they're going to fall like rocks when they're done going up like this, but you just have to ride the wave. I mean, I will keep talking about Carvana because Carvana is such a good example of what this is all looking like, and it's been one of the first to take off. But every time it got really up here, sure. I mean, look at this. It just kind of pulled back into support, but overall, the giant trend was up. Yeah, and DJT. I mean, not to be political, but hey, this is the reality of our world right now. The person whose name is this stock is president. Don't you think it's probably going to do well? I mean, unless he gets impeached again or something like that, I would imagine the stock is going to do just fine. And you look at this weekly chart, yeah, that looks good. It really actually looks good. It's pulled back into the weekly 21. The Moxie indicator is about to fire. It's got a squeeze. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff is looking pretty good. And if you look here on the daily chart, those of you in the Moxie room, do you remember I was talking about DJT? I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. But do you remember I said we should probably expect to pull back below the hourly 50. There you go. I said there was probably a double top here and the whole market was pulling back anyway. And I said, typically we see a pullback below the hourly 50 right there. All right. So yeah, I think that eventually is going to be the buy the dip. I don't know if that is exactly by the dip, but I would imagine in this area, because if you look at the daily chart, Nick, you know my patterns. Here's a 50, 200, 50 maneuver. And what it do? Basically flagged right into the daily 50. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, DJT. I mean, come on, like he's president. Wouldn't you imagine that the stock that the president owns is going to go up? Yeah, or at least his namesake. I think that's kind of a given. All right, let's see. John, yes. Would I buy the IWM here? Yes, I would. Yeah, I would. And another one of our traders, Bruce, put on a January call spread. I think it was a 240, 250. So 240, 250 call spread. He put it on yesterday for about $2.93, if I remember. So 240, 250 call credit spread for January. If that interests you, yeah, I totally support it. I don't see how the IWM is not higher in a month. And let's see, yeah, ARKK, is it in a, let's see, ARKK, is it in a similar trend to IWM? Yes, but from my understanding, ARKK now is mostly Tesla. I think they have a bunch of Tesla, but yeah, this is good. Now it's a little bit high. I wouldn't say buy it here because I think that this is pretty darn extended. But if you look at the, yeah, here you go. Once again, look at the hibernation, and now look at this breaking out to new highs. Even ARKK is getting in on the action. Granted, they have a lot of Tesla, but if you look at like ARC Q and ARC W and ARC. I don't know if the G is the genetics one is doing very well, but most of the other ARC ETFs are doing very well. Now, this one specifically, as I said on the daily chart, I'm not sure I would buy it up here. It's kind of already extended, already had a big move, and it's extended on the weekly chart, and it's pretty far up there. So I would give this one some time to pull back. But yes, I like it. Yes, I think it's going to go, but give it some time. All right, let's see what else we have. Vijay looking at Nari. Sounds like Narnia. Yeah, okay. What is this thing? Okay, medical. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. It looks like it's probably just at the beginning. In fact, there's a double bottom. There's some positive divergence. There's your Moxie price trigger, and it is over the weekly 50, and it's trying to get over the monthly 10. So I'm gonna have to give some deference to a lot of these stocks because this is the environment that small caps are going to start moving. And so, if you were ever going to trade like junk like this off the floor, now is pretty much the time. I can't say that that's going to make everything work, but at least you have the wind at your back for small caps like this. So if this thing gets your motor going, I'm going to have to say, yes, it at least looks like it and has some possibility, mostly because I see that double bottom. And yes, it looks like it's starting to move. But man, it's been a little bit of a challenging stock. I mean, you look at this thing and it doesn't really make me want to try it. But if you like it, sure. Yeah, Sal, as far as the SP and the Qs having another day up, yes, I got to be careful about that today. So we'll see how today goes. As I said, I think that for today, I feel like the market is pretty high up and kind of needs to consolidate. So I would love to see a little bit of a pullback later today, and yeah, we'll see if that pullback actually sets us up for more upside tomorrow and into the week. I'd be fine with that. I'm just talking about today. Today, I want to see the market kind of come down a little bit. All right, Logan, you have the Moxie indicator, but why sometimes in your 15-minute chart you see that use the 15-minute high and the 15-minute low? Yes, okay, so the difference there is, let's kind of come over, let's look at the SPX and just talk about that. The 15-minute high right here is, so for the Moxie indicator, it's a, let's see, it works better for swing trading. So the math on that indicator is a little bit slower, but it's stronger. And so that's why it works better for swing trading. If we come over to, say, the day trading screen where we had the 15, the 5, and the 2, we had the 15-minute low. And the difference here is that this 15-minute Moxie indicator is a little bit more nimble, it's faster, but it's not as strong. So that's how we work with the two of them. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, so I think that pretty much covers everything that we're looking at. Nick, come on over, man. The water's nice. Come on over to the Moxie room. We've got a lot of people in here. It's been growing, and basically, I've been just trying to tell people like, this is the market. This is it. Like, we're seeing it. When you see something like the IWM finally break out to new highs, this is it. I think that this market has some legs because I'm looking around and like we have 20 names that we're trading, and there are so many more that we could be getting into, and I don't I cannot track that many names in my account. When you have this many names available to trade, and Bitcoin's running, and small caps are running, and I have 2 names that are almost 200% on stock. You remember 2020? We had names going 300%. And I have 5 or 6 stocks all over 100%. Okay. I just cannot comment enough that this market is a good market. And this is the time to come on over and, have a good time with us. So come join, guys. I see a bunch of, yeah, even more eyeballs out here I'm seeing on YouTube and Facebook. Like, this is one of the bigger sessions. So those of you out there kind of lurking and watching, I'm telling you, like, this is the time to get into the market. Okay. It is going great. So I don't want you guys to miss out. I want you to come on over and come join us with these names where it's 2020 all over again. But again, I think it's a little bit better. I think it's less of a spurt, an explosion, and like a 4-month run. I think this is going to be a little bit more legitimate. No, man, you're not late to the game. You're not late to the game. This, just like 2020, this pop and the small caps popped on the election. So regardless that it was Trump, because this happened in 2020 when Biden got elected, it's just that the election happened and we have lower interest rates and the economy's not crashing. And maybe the idea of Doge and the economy growing and stuff like that, I think we just broke out. Okay. The IWM broke out, made new all-time highs only a month ago. You're not missing out. This is not the tail end. Okay. These things are just beginning. Okay. I really just cannot emphasize that enough. When you see something like Toast or Roblox, and they have been basing for this long and they're starting to go, this motor is just starting, just beginning. Okay. So I'm gonna have a good time. I want to make sure that you guys come here too. All right. So I'll do just fine, but I see all those eyeballs out there. And those eyeballs need to be over here in the Moxie room so that you guys can actually keep taking advantage of this market. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to be shutting this down. Moxie crew, I'll be in the chat room, and then I'll see you guys, let's see, 9, 10, 11, 2 more hours, and I'll be back in the Moxie room on the mic and in the central